when I was like dating that woman for 2 years, and like it was a hope that this was going to get to be something good, but it hadn't gotten there yet. Just the hope brought it up to maybe like a 5.
Okay.
It would have been a 10 if we had gotten married, right? But it only got to a 5, and then when it crashed, I went below 0. I went to like -50. I went to the lowest point in my life, right? And I was hanging out down there, and I was completely suicidal, and then this woman came to my life, and I got engaged, and like when she came to my life and I got engaged, I was like, oh my God, and I was like,
where were you
flying out of the La Brea tar pits. And like started moving, and I was like flying,
Up to what, a 5? A 6,
well, if 10 is like the limit, and that would be like if we actually
limit.
gotten married, I was like thinking like it was going to happen because we got engaged.
So you were like a 7?
Yeah, I was like a 7 or 8.
For weeks and months, were you a 7?
Yeah, but it was holding, and then like when you started to see like it wasn't going to happen, it started to cave, and then by the time we actually officially called it off, I went right back into La Brea tar pits, and now I'm like 50 below again.
But now you say having a woman in your life. Does having like a woman Facebook friend, does that count as having a woman in your life?
If she's just on Facebook?
Yeah.
No, because that's like a nothing. It's like, it's like, oh, I'm playing with my computer, It's like, you close the computer up or whatever, close your laptop and she's gone. I don't see anybody in the house.
Right. Where would you say you're at today?
This moment?
Yeah.
Not good.
1, 2, 3?
It's 0.
0.
Why are we talking about this? Let's talk about this week's parsha.
When Hashem let Moses said, "Come onto the hill and look out on the promised land," was he being kind or was he torturing Moses? You know what I'm talking about in the parsha?
Is that being kind?
Yeah. Was Hashem being kind to Moses or was Hashem torturing?
I don't think it's either one. I think he was showing him into the future what's going to happen.
Right.
And it says like I think there's the Gemara says that he saw all the way into the future and he saw all the way down to Rabbi Akiva, something like that. He saw like how he showed him events in the future.
Right. So what does it mean that we're not to add or not to subtract from the Torah that God gave us? For instance, the Torah says keep Passover for 7 days, yet here in the diaspora we have to keep it for 8 days. Doesn't that violate that Torah prohibition of adding or subtracting from the laws that God gave us?
No, not at all. I'm glad you asked that. No, when the Torah says that you don't add in laws, that's a very specific thing. It's when we add an extra day, that's called making a fence around the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we have 8 days and not 7 is so that we shouldn't transgress the commandment of the 7. The question is we don't know where the 7 are, so we're careful to make sure that we have it covered. Either way, either it starts here or it starts there. If it starts there, we have to move back a day, right? So we have it covered. That's not adding to the Torah. That's making a fence to make sure that we don't violate the Torah. Adding to the Torah would be, from now on, everybody has to wake up at 5 a.m. and do the hula hoop, right?
Right.
Where does that come from?
Right.
That would be something totally foreign, or you have to, I don't know. Something that's like got no basis, that would be an adding to it.
Right. Going back to what we were just talking about, someone was asking in the chat room where I'd put myself on that happiness ranking. And I'd say for the last 3 months I've been pretty consistently around 7.
You're happy?
Yeah, the last 3 months. Before that I had a lot of times down around 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah.
See, my thing is like this. The Torah says... it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
Okay? The Torah tells you from the beginning, right, that it's going to suck. It's going to be a 0. It's going to be lo tov.
Yeah.
No good when you're alone. I'm alone. I'm living proof that the Torah is correct, right? Because I'm not supposed to be alone. I'm alone, and it's a 0. And like 10 is when you're married and you're with her. 0 is when you got nothing, and it's like it fluctuates if she's like engaged, or like I said, it moves up to 7 or 8.
Right.
Because like you start to have pas pasalo, you start to have bread in your basket, right? You start thinking in your back pocket, hey, it's not going to be too long, and I'm going to be married, so you start to get your hopes up.
Do you think you can tell me the truth? So I'm going to give you a cheta.
I never lie to you.
You're going to I'm giving you a cheta now to my feelings. Do you think I'm fooling myself?
Fooling yourself into what?
Thinking that I'm happy.
Well, I always say if somebody is like a long-term single and they tell you that they're happy being single, then they're either lying to yourself, lying to themselves, lying to you, or both, right?
Yeah.
Or you're a long-term single.
Yeah. I've never been married.
Lifelong
I mean,
single.
I've had relationships.
Well, see, that's the thing.
But-
That's the thing. See, Torah says it's not good for men to be alone, right?
Right.
And Jews are supposed to be married. But if you're
Right.
violating that, and
Right.
like, well, you weren't because you were not Jewish. That's
Right.
not a violation. If you were a non-Jew and you were like with somebody,
Yeah.
that's not really being alone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could be that you've never really experienced being alone. How long have you been alone as a Jew?
I've about a year. I've had stretches of a year without sex.
Okay, over a 44-year period.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to judge, because that's not really that extended. Like,
Yeah.
I talked to like some people who, got married at like 18, 19, 20. Then they
Right.
were married for like 20 years, right?
Right.
And then and they, and they were married most of their life. They had been married, and they got
Right.
divorced.
Right.
And like they say, oh, the happiest day of my life is the day I got divorced. It's
Right.
like, oh, I love being single. But they never really experienced long-term
Yeah.
singleness.
Yeah.
So it's like, shut up. You're not. That's got nothing to do with it. I can't judge. Is a year a long time? To me, it's not that long because I've had so many of them.
Right.
When you're looking at my history, there's just so many years. So a year is doable. If a year is doable for you, like it's not a big deal, then you theoretically could be happy alone right now because it'd like give you a chance to
Do Torah talk.
Do Torah talk, but it's a time to air out and
Yeah.
reflect and,
Yeah.
and step away from it all. And you don't really feel the loneliness yet.
Right.
If you were a long-term single, I don't
Yeah.
know. See, I don't know when long-term starts. And it might not start at the same time for everybody.
Yeah.
That might be subjective. I don't know. But certainly, like, if somebody's been married for 20 years and they've only been single for 6 months, that's not called being alone. That's called having a chance to get away from this guy. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So that's not the same as being, like, permanently alone. And I don't know how, but the minute, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that starts. So it's possible that you're not lying.
Yeah. I know a lot of single Orthodox Jews in this neighborhood who are basically 613. They basically keep the Torah, except they will have premarital sex. So do you think they're all headed for hell?
What kind of question is that?
That's called pouring gasoline on you.
But it's like a retarded question. All right, let's go back to what we said at the top of the show. What did we say? That every Jew has to, has the same Torah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you try to do the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
So these people that you said are keeping every single thing, but they're failing in one area.
Yeah.
And you're saying, should we judge them based on their one failure?
Right.
Or should we even bother to look at the other things? I say, thank God at least they keep Shabbos.
Right.
At least they keep kosher. At least they're doing everything. They're not perfect. But who is? Are you perfect?
No.
Am I perfect?
No.
Is there anyone among us who's perfect and
No.
you can judge?
Only Jesus. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's like, so what am I going to do? I'm going
Yeah.
to judge these people?
Yeah.
Only God can judge them.
Right.
Only God is the true judge, and He can judge them, and He's not going to tell us, So, I mean, it's like, everybody focus on your own business and stop paying attention to what other people do. That's between them and God.
What should we do about the atheists who are infecting our Orthodox shul? Should we find some way of drumming them out?
Why would they even be in that shul?
You've encountered Orthodox Jews who say they're atheists.
No, I've never.
You've never encountered an Orthodox Jew who says he doesn't
First of
believe in
all,
God.
can we not say the word Orthodox? Are you just doing that to piss me off?
No,
There's no such thing as an Orthodox Jew. There are Jews. That's it.
We've registered.
There's Jews, right? And if a person goes to a from kosher shul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would an atheist be there? I've never seen one. No, I've never seen one.
Because they,
If they're really
all their
atheists,
friends
what are they
and
wasting their
family
time?
are observant, and they like it, and they're raising an observant family, and they just like it.
Okay,
But they don't
Atheism-
believe in the Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
atheism means to deny. Say, I proclaim that there is no God.
Mhm.
Therefore, the Torah is not the truth.
Mhm.
Why would they want to be in a shul, which? So it seems like a.
They like it. It gives them good feelings. Just like I like black gospel music. I don't believe in Jesus.
All right, you know what? I don't know. I've never come across any of these people.
Okay.
Anyone who's actually, I've heard people say, I don't know if this is the truth.
Right.
That's very common. I don't know if it's truth. I'm still, searching. My parents. But usually when someone says to the point where there's no God.